Welcome to the Covert Narcissism Podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. So today I want to share a story with you. The story comes from the Appalachian Trail, and yes, I am hiking the Appalachian Trail in bits and pieces. I can't disappear from life for 5 months, although that's kind of appealing. But I just can't do that, and so I'm section hiking it with a friend of mine. And in fact, I'm wearing my hiking shirt right now. It's the Appalachian Trail and the white blaze, which is the marker on the trees that keeps you on the path. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my shirt, but it's an awesome shirt, and I love it. But on the trail, I was on the trail over the weekend, and we had a very traumatic event happen while we were on the trail. You see, I was hiking, and I was in the front. We'd been hiking all day. It was me and two friends. And I was kind of in the front on the trail, and the two of them were behind me. And maybe 10 to 15 feet behind me, not far. We were all chit-chatting. And I heard a commotion behind me. Something startling. That noise that you know something's wrong. And I turned around, and I was trying to process what I was seeing. But my friend and her dog, it was clear they were being attacked by something. I couldn't tell what was going on. It was in the bushes right there beside the trail, but there was an issue. And I started to run back to them and still trying to process what was going on. But before I could even get to them, I had already been stung. You see, what was happening was my friend was being attacked by thousands of hornets. And it was bad. This was like the scene from a horror movie. Her and her dog, when she's trying to get her dog back, and they ran. Everybody ran. Everybody just scattered at that point. And the two of them ran, that way up the trail where we had come from, and I ran the other direction because the hornets were between me and them. And it was, in fact, when I got stung that I really put together what was going on. And I turned and ran the other way. And so now here we are in this situation. The situation is my friend, who is swarmed by these hornets, she is screaming for all she's worth. And I don't blame her. I would have been too. It was clear she was continuing to be attacked. The swarm had followed her, and they were all in her clothes and in her backpack and in her, she got 60 to 70, maybe upwards of 100 stings. And my other friend that had run with her, she's also in the midst of it, and I can see her flailing around. And here I am on the other side of the hornets. And they ran around a bend to where actually I couldn't see them. Like my friend that was getting stung so much, I think she'd have run, a half a mile back. And again, I don't blame her. But she finally, got far enough away that she's away from the hornets. But she is in a significant amount of pain and a real issue at this point. And so here I am on my side of the hornets, and I can't get to them. There's thousands of hornets between me and them. And how can I get to them? How can I help? And when we talk about trauma, the definition of trauma is an intense physical and psychological response to an event or a series of events or a set of circumstances that is experienced as harmful or threatening. This was traumatic. I absolutely had a physical and psychological response. My friend clearly did. Now, her traumatic response is going to be different than mine. She was the one being attacked. I was the one experiencing this as an observer, a witnesser, and in fact now isolated and trapped and unable to help. So what physical response did I have to the trauma? Okay, my heart is just absolutely racing. My mind is going a million miles an hour, and I can't think a single straight thought. My muscles are tense. I'm breathing real shallow and fast, and I'm pacing back and forth on my little 10 feet of the trail trying to figure out what to do. How about a psychological response? Fear, anxiety, panic, worry, feeling detached, difficulty even believing that this was happening. I didn't believe this was happening. I felt like I was in a dream or in a movie, trying to figure out, again, what in the world do I do? Well, your mind becomes hyper-focused. And I guess let me pause here for just a minute and let you know my friend is okay. All right. She did, even after a day of rest, she was able to get back on the hiking trail and get back to hiking. So I do want to go ahead and take a minute and say that. But in this situation, your mind is hyper-focused. I'm listening like a hawk to any of the interactions that are happening between the two of them. My other friend is getting Benadryl in her and trying to help her and getting the rest of the hornets away. They're now trying to figure out how to get back to me, how to get around, because we had to keep going in that direction because that's, where there was actually a stop coming up in about 0.3 of a mile. And we needed to get to that spot because we knew that's where we could get help. But I'm hyper-focused. I'm watching these hornets. I'm watching for any sign of where did they go? Where are they now? Are they more upset? Are they, looking for more targets to go after? Are they settling down? What are they doing? I'm clutching my phone trying to figure out, do I need to be calling 911? And I was so close at that point to calling 911. So fight or flight mode kicks in when we're dealing with trauma. And I give you this example because I'm going to tie it now to life with a covert narcissist. You see, with a covert narcissist, maybe you don't get all the bee stings at once, which thankfully, I got one sting, and I'm going to tell you right now, that thing hurt like crazy. I couldn't imagine how my friend was feeling. She's dealing with, so many. But if all the stings from a covert narcissist all happened at the same time, I think we'd run. We wouldn't stop running. My friend would have run all the way down that trail, all the way back the 5 miles we had just covered to, since our car. That was where we had started. But the stings don't happen that way. They happen one at a time. And we're going to come back to that thought in just a minute. So the fight or flight definitely kicked in. Well, fight. I can't fight the hornets. I'm not going to stand there and start punching them. I don't have hornet spray in my pack. Flight, I ran just enough to get away, but I can't now leave. I've got to stay and figure out how to help my friends. Freeze, well, there was a little bit of this. The freeze was I was stuck. I was pacing back and forth trying to figure out how to help. Fawn, no, I didn't go make nice with the hornets, so fawning's not going to work there. There's no peacekeeping that happens. But I want to add another word to the list. We've got fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I want to add fix. Because we definitely go into this fix mode. And this fix mode at that moment for me was, I called the store. There was a store in 0.3 of a mile, like a little, Outback store. And I called them. And of course they couldn't help. They said if we needed help, we had to call 911. I got my phone charging. That was about all I knew to do at that moment. But I did do that. I did keep calling out to my friends, hey, how are we doing over there? Just to get answers back from them so that I could know, hey, they're still there. They're still breathing. Nobody's allergic and have an allergic reaction. So this was all, progress. But when we are dealing with the trauma of covert narcissism, there's 3 things that really are very common effects with covert narcissism: isolation, self-doubt, and obsessive thinking. Think about that for a minute. In your world with a covert narcissist, do you deal with isolation? Do you deal with self-doubt? Do you deal with obsessive thinking? So let's look at this one traumatic event that I experienced, isolation. I absolutely felt isolated, not only from my friends, but from the rest of the world. Okay, I was isolated from my friends by these hornets. They were between me and them. It was because of these stinging little creatures that I couldn't get to my friends. Well, in the world of covert narcissism, it's because of all the bee stings that you can't get help from the people around you. You can't get to the support you need. You can't get, that little tribe around you because of all these bee stings. So the isolation, one is from my friends, the other is from the rest of the world. We're out there on the Appalachian Trail. How am I going to get help? How do I get a hold of, how does medical care get here if we need it? You feel very isolated and alone and very small in that world. Self-doubt. There was a lot of self-doubt in my mind. I didn't know if I was doing the right thing, not doing the right thing. I was so close to just running right through the hornet's nest so that I could get to them. And every time I would convince myself to do it, I'd go, no, that's not the right choice. I got to stay here. They don't need me stung as well. That's not going to help them. And in fact, staying put where I was the right choice because the only way they were able to get back to me was to go off the trail. It's very scary to get off the trail on the Appalachian Trail. You don't want to get off the path because you could lose your place getting back. But they had to get off the trail, walking up the mountainside and around. And so I kept calling. I kept calling to the dog because I knew the dog would find me. And I kept calling to the dog, and she led then our friends back to me. So it was a good thing that I stayed put. But the self-doubt inside of me, do I run to the store? Do I go get help down there? Do I run through the hornet's nest to my friends? what do I do? How about obsessive thinking? My mind was going a million miles an hour and making absolutely no progress. So that's in the moment. But what about after? So after we get her help, we got it down to the store, we got a shuttle, we got her to urgent care, and we got her the help that she needed. Okay. Once all that happened and things were calm, that's when the ruminating started. This situation that had happened replayed in my mind over and over and over. All the rest of the evening, all night long, every time I woke up, I was seeing this same situation. The next day, it was just on replay in my mind. What did I do wrong? What could I have noticed? Why didn't I see the hornet's nest when I passed through there? Why did they go after my friend? Why didn't they go after me? All the ruminating thoughts that go through the head, and through the mind. Are we okay? Is she okay? This constant ruminating. When you're dealing with a covert narcissist and you have one bee sting, okay, not 60, 70, 100, but one, the ruminating starts. And you start ruminating, going, okay, what could I have fixed? What could I have done different? What did I not do right? We start making this checklist of what do we need to fix? And it replays over and over. And we make arguments in our mind of, okay, I should have said this or I should have done that. Some of the best arguments in the world have been made in my mind and never got voiced because they were in the ruminating phase after everything that had happened. And I sure wasn't going to go back and stir the nest up again. Okay. Going back and trying to make things right with a covert narcissist. That's like going back and if I had chosen to go back and stick my foot right in the middle of that hornet's nest. Okay, you go back and try to make things right, and now instead of one sting, you've got 50. Okay, this is why the correlation of what I went through is just like life with a covert narcissist. Okay, I'll tell you one more piece that really, really validated to me the comparison here. So the next day, our friend that had gotten stung so much, she took a rest. Okay, she took a break. But my other friend, her and I went ahead and hiked another piece. We had a 7-mile piece that we wanted to do. And so we went and did that. Now, here I am walking, and she's walking behind me. And anytime I heard a little bzzz, you want to talk about panic hitting. Wow. I mean, this was, whoa, where is it? Where is it? What's going on? That hyper alert state and hyper vigilant state, when you're living with a covert narcissist and you've been stung by a bee, doesn't your radar go like over the top in a hyperdrive? Yes, but guess what? This is normal. This happened on the Appalachian Trail because of hornets. Yes, trauma affects you. And now I'm listening like a hawk for anything that's buzzing around me and any sight of it. And I bolted. And I just tell my friend, run, here they are again. And yes, they were out there. We definitely ran into them a couple more times. Okay, in fact, at one point I had one caught in my hair. And I'm swatting at it, trying to get it out of my hair. I swatted a couple of times to get it out of my hair. And it finally went, but all the effects of the trauma came right back. Okay, my heart is racing, my mind is racing, all of it. And I ran. Well, my friend, this is another correlation I want to make here. My friend had had one sting on her arm that got really mad. This was from the day before when the big event happened. And it had really, like, she was having a pretty significant histamine reaction on her arm. But it was okay. We put some Benadryl, she put some Benadryl on it. We were kind of just watching it. And it had started to settle down. So now when we're hiking the next day, and one got caught in my hair. So it was in this little moment. And I ran. She ran too, but it was another little swarm of them. Well, she got stung again. This sting was on her thumb. Okay, that same hand, but on her thumb. Well, guess what happened? Because of that sting on her thumb, this sting up here on her arm fired back up again. It swelled back up again. It had been getting better. It swelled up. It got mad. It got irritated. It got, all itchy and red and hot to the touch again. It's like it reactivated this sting because of the one down here on her thumb. Well, think about it. With covert narcissism, when you take a sting and things calm down, which they do, they get to this okay place. And that sting, it's like, okay, it's getting better. We're okay. And then you get stung again. That new sting isn't just about what just happened. It fires back up all the old stings. It kicks those reactions inside of you all back into gear again. That's what happened. And that just completely validated that. Right there was a physical example, a very real, tangible example. Look, the effects that trauma is having on you, this is normal. The isolation you're feeling, the self-doubt, the obsessive thinking, there's nothing wrong with you. This is a normal response to trauma. When you get stung by, even in normal, healthy relationships, you get stung, it hurts. Okay, I get that. When you get some relief, you get some reconciliation, that clears it. But when you're with a covert narcissist and you don't get that reconciliation, then the bee stings start to accumulate. This is what I'm talking about here. You've been through what my friend went through with hundreds of bee stings. Of course, they were hornets. Okay, I won't blame the bees for this one. These were hornets, but went through all of these stings kind of all at once instead of it being accumulated. If you took all the stings of your life with a covert narcissist and you put them all in the same space of time, this would be a massive reaction. This could easily throw your body into shock from all the adrenaline and histamine reaction that you have inside of you. So look, watch out for the bee stings. I got on the Appalachian Trail worried about bears. Okay, when I went out hiking, it was my mom, as I'm getting ready to leave, said, hey, watch out for the bears. Pay attention to the bears. We're making sure we've got the right food canisters because we're worried about bears. I wasn't thinking about the hornets. Okay, when I entered the dating world, I'm looking out for the bears. I'm looking out for, people who are violent or maybe doing drugs or cheating or, just really making bad choices, stealing, lying. These are the big things. I'm looking out for the bears. I didn't think about looking out for the bees. One last piece, though, that I do want to share with you. When my friend and I were hiking that next day, we had one last climb that we had to push through that was really significant. It was a 700-foot climb and we had to go. All right. But with everything we had been through, did we have it in us? Did we have the energy? Yes, we did. And I'm telling you today that you've got the energy to push through all of these traumatic events that you've been through in life. We pushed through this with the sore muscles, with the hornet scares, and here we were now losing daylight. We had to climb about 700 feet to get to where our vehicle was. But we were losing daylight and there were storms rolling in. Yes, we got soaking wet. Rain was pouring down. We're still trying to find our path. We're in the dark. It's raining. We can't hardly see. And here we are still trying to find our path. And I'm going to add one more piece. Something was following us in the woods. We do not know at this point what it was. It did not sound human. It sounded like animal. It was probably a raccoon. Okay, probably a raccoon or a fox. We don't know, but something was definitely back there. But despite all of these challenges, we pushed through and we got to our car. So we jumped in the car, we threw our stuff off, we're soaking wet, and we sat there and just started laughing. Safety provides this release of all the adrenaline, of course, that was cranking through our system. And now here we sat and we are reflecting on everything that had happened and everything we've been through. And we start our drive towards home. Of course, we had to get, cleaned up and get a shower and we're still ruminating. And we're ruminating on this last part too. What was that chasing us in the woods? I don't know. Probably a raccoon. Okay, I'm just going to assume it was. Sounded bigger than a squirrel, but a raccoon or a fox or something like that. Now that I'm telling this story and I'm sitting here, safely where I am and kind of reflecting on this, that had to have been a bear. At least that's my story, and I'm sticking with it. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism Podcast with your host, Renee Swanson. Be sure to check out our website at www.covertnarcissism.com. There you will find many resources just for you to help you on this journey. You can also reach out to me by email at Renee, RENEE, at cnglifecoaching.com. Those letters are CNG, as in Covert Narcissism Group. I do look forward to hearing from you. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson and the Covert Narcissism Podcast is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes and not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. It does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.